Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
Kurt 916, and you tune in to another edition of Prison Talk. Now, this topic isn't necessarily tied into anything with prison, but one of our viewers had mentioned, Big Hurt, are you going to speak about Shannon Sharpe and the IG model, Sharpe? I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but IG model, her real name is Gabriella Denegla, something like that. I can't pronounce her last name, but it starts with a Z. Anyways, Shannon Sharpe is accused of the R word, right? But the texts say other words. The texts say that they were into a consensual, somewhat of a dominant, submissive relationship, kinky in the way that, hey, choke me, spank me, cuff me, tie me up, daddy, that type of stuff, which is nothing crazy. I mean, people do stuff like that all the time in their private life. Usually it's either in, I would say, a dungeon type situation where somebody goes somewhere to seek out a service, or it's in a personal relationship where these people are a couple or they're married, so therefore it's not something that will be exploited at a later date because it's consensual by both parties, and both parties have a public life that they don't want to go. They have a private life they don't want to go public. Obviously, this girl doesn't really care about these things going public. I mean, she's 20, 22 now. Because they said they met in 2023, and at that time she was 20 years old at a gym in LA. All right, he was like 53, 54, 20-year-old, and I've had this conversation with a couple of other guys that are my age or older about hooking up with young girls, right? I mean, dude, you look like her dad. Realistically, do you think that she's going to love you? You're going to have this um, girlfriend boyfriend type relationship, or are you going to be buying her shit and she's going to be, putting her tongue in your butt and hopefully, thinking she's going to move into your mansion? If you have a mansion now, if you don't have no bread and you just an average Joe and you're 50 something years old and you're trying to get at a 20-year-old, you're delusional. For a baller like Shannon, I'm quite sure he's had multiple young females like this in his DMs, or females he's bumped into, that have thrown him some action, getting out of Lambos, Ferraris, whatever type of luxury car, just, living that life. I mean, there's a lot of pretty women around you. I know guys who have plenty of bread, and when they have that kind of bread, these young women, I mean, they'll literally, eat a grape out your booty, So it's nothing new. But Shannon being a public figure like this, and if you listen to the recordings, you'll hear like the hesitation and some of the conversation. It doesn't even seem fluid. Check it out.
Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
what does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You want to be a dick to me now, so
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
oh Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke the out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do.
So when you hear that, you're thinking like, were
I
you
don't think
not
you have a
thinking
choice in
like,
the matter.
man, maybe this is a setup? I mean, I know when I got out of prison and I was hooking up with females and something didn't seem right, man, I would just ghost them. You know, it was paranoia. I didn't want to get caught up on, some female getting mad or doing something and maybe, saying something and can get me violated or, get me sent back to prison. So I was just like on noise status. But nowadays, you're talking about these young females are smarter than you think. And yeah, shoot, people do all kind of freaky stuff in their private life. It's like, I'm not tripping off of that, but the reality is like it's obvious it's bigger than the bread because they offered her a settlement of tens of millions. She turned it down and then went public with it with her attorney, and now they're asking for 50 million. You're like, damn, that means he was going to just pay her out tens of millions and she could have went about her way. But whoever got in her ears, like, nah, we're going to destroy this dude. This is bigger than the allegations and the R. So, yeah, it's more to it, and some people want to see this dude's whole public image destroyed, and she's a conduit for it. It's not like she probably came into the situation like this, but somebody that heard or knew about her messing with Shannon got involved in this and was like, oh yeah, we can play this. Because if you're a dude, you're like, you're messing with who? What? Oh man, look, let me handle this. We're about to get paid. And it's just a sad reality, you know. That's why a lot of guys go to these other places and they just pay for these high end escorts, man. They just pay them, and Shannon, to be honest, in certain situations, I don't know if he was being cheap, if he actually ever treated her to anything besides a dinner and some weenie. But I mean, she said at one point, "Hey, 25K a cheek," and I don't think he paid that. And then I heard there was something where he had allegedly promised her fake boobs. I don't know if he ever got those for her. I mean, dude, some of these dudes are so cheap, but yet they want to bang the hottest chicks, and these hot young chicks, they still want to be treated like they're a prized possession, especially by a rich dude. And that's what they're going after, these rich dudes, you know. And typically, a rich dude knows that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and pay her. I know she's, using me for the money, but I'm banging her every night, and it is what it is. I got a friend. He said his buddy's a billionaire, balling out of control. Sold his company for $3 billion. He's 72, 70 something. He said 72, 73, something like that. And the chick is like 28. She's married to him. He buys her everything. I mean, he knows she's with him for the money. Come on, man, 70 something, and she's 28, 29, but he's married to her. So he's banging her. She's hanging out with him, traveling, shopping, doing. I mean, if you're gonna, you know, get you a young one, you got to try to, I guess, put a different game plan in play. But if you dog these chicks out now, they're not just going home and gonna just take it. Come on, man. You think she's just gonna go about her way and be like, she sees you and you're still out here and you're banging and doing this and doing that and having all this fun, and she's now, looking for her next lick, but she keeps going back to the time she spent with you, and he messed with her. It says, I believe from what 2023 to 2020, late 2024, and then it doesn't make sense either that she kept coming back if she was allegedly R, because if somebody treats you like that and you don't like it, whether it's in the butt, whether it's being choked or tied up or whatever the case may be, you're not gonna call him anymore. You're being like, this guy's crazy, but you keep going back to that because obviously it was something that they both enjoyed participating in, and she used it to her
Going to
advantage.
LA tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Daddy.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah, I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you do with the shit you did to me.
Okay, well,
This dude, man. Oh man, that's why you gotta be like, if you might have money, you might have hooked up with older married, women, or I mean, women who were of a different, I don't know, caliber as far as dating. But these young girls, I mean, look at, she got this dude to say on the recording, big black guy chokes small white woman. I mean, a little white woman, whatever he said up in there. But come on, dude, you're saying, why would you voice that? And the way they had the awkwardness in that conversation, it just seemed weird, And I mean, if they were on one of these freak sites and they were communicating like that, she's like one of those type of females, and she was like, by day some doctor, but by night she's just a whore, you know what I mean? And she's just, let's do this, and then that's okay. But you're talking about these girls are gaming these dudes. I mean, come on, bro. 20, she's 2, 3 years out of high school. Here you are, 50 something years old, and you coming through, laying down a hammer, and you're thinking that you could just treat her any kind of way. Yeah, so you're laying down a hammer thinking you could treat her any kind of way. And I'm not saying, like I said, there's not a straight guy I know that wouldn't uh, hook up with a female like that if they were single, given the opportunity, if it crossed their paths. But it doesn't cross most guys' paths unless they're paying. And you're 50 some years old. You're not, these young females, if you're broke, they're not looking at you. If you're balling, because I've seen some nerdy cornball dudes in some, high end cars with some hot chicks, and you're like, okay, she likes the Lamborghini Aventador, or she's a fan of the Ferrari, or this guy's got a helicopter, this guy's got a jet, he's balling, he's, got his, uh, you know, sunbed tan on, and maybe he's taking some, uh, what do you call it, some testosterone replacement, and he thinks he's a man, but he's a straight weenie, but he's got money, so he's got a hot young chick, and that's how it usually works. But if you're just a regular dude, it ain't happening. And most of those dudes who have those hot young chicks are, they're most likely only handling one. They're not trying to juggle a bunch of them. They're not trying to be player because they're not really players. They're just guys with a lot of money that are able to buy nice things now, and women like nice things and like to be around nice things, so they take advantage of it. But when you're player like that, it can come back to bite you in the ass. You've seen it with other people, man, when these women feel like they're just being passed around or used, or just conveniently, you come to my house when you're in town, but I never hear from you. And, it's, there's a lot of little things you got to look at besides, like, okay, yeah, it is a shakedown. I agree. I think it's a shakedown, but dude, you got to be smart. You got to be smarter than that, dude. You're 50 something years old and you're still trying to mess with a young. I mean, even if you're single, I mean, what, at least in the late 30, early 40s. I mean, realistically, 20, dude. What are you gonna talk about? Soon as she's talking about, oh, some of the text, oh, daddy, I want you to do me like this and blah blah. I mean, dude, I mean, he was hypnotized. He looked at her IG and was like, oh my god, you know, and he thought he had it going on. All the while, he's being played. She said at one point, I told you not to put it in my, to put a condom on, and you didn't put a condom on. I told you not to put it in my booty, and you put it in my booty, and dude, it shows he was, and in the text, who knows what the other part said if she told him to do that, but it's like the public image doesn't look good. You're 6 foot something, 230, 40 pounds, 50 pounds. You got this little white girl, barely 22 years old, and you're this big dominant dude, and you were basically putting the big black mamba up in her. Come on, bro. Did you not see that coming? Did you not see that one, man? A young girl. I know another guy, another story. I know a guy. He used to be on these dating sites, um, Sugar Daddy, um, some of these other ones, where these girls look for, rich guys, and all the guys, do this tore up, man. A lot of them do. They try to look like they're in shape, got the hair plugs, some of them, whatever, but they tore up. But they got bread, so they go on there and they know the relationship. The girl, she's an 8, 9, 10, and the dudes are probably like, fours, maybe fives, but they're breaded up. And this dude used to go on there because he considered himself to be like an 8 or 9, and he thought that because he was better looking than other guys, that he would take him to a nice dinner. And eventually, they just want to give him the draws. And one time, he said he had the broad, um, little foreign broad. They went out to dinner. Um, had the massage, and they busted some cheeks together, took a shower, did some party favors, woke up in the morning, and she's like, I need $500. He's like, $500? You need some money to get home, whatever, the hotel. No, I need $500 or I'm gonna say that you are me. And he was like, what? I thought we had a good time. We did, but I need $500. And this is on the lower end. This guy ain't no Shannon Sharpe. He's no millionaire, but look at how she played him. And he thought he was connecting with this chick. They had conversations to the wee hours of the morning and all this tantra sex. She still wanted $500. He paid her. She went on her way. He didn't see her after that. So it wasn't like she was blown away and in love, even though he thought he had this connection. He was older than her. She's younger. These bras don't care, man. They don't care. You can't be, uh, you know, delusion about what the reality is, man. You're older. She's younger. If you're balling, there's a come up there factor. Unless you go ahead and marry him, and then typically you marry him for about after 4 or 5 years, they want to get they want to bust out and go do their own thing because they still are, you're now in your 60s, whatever, and they're like, I'm looking to go have me some fun now. I got a kid and I can live off whatever the child support is. It's a big play, man. Big play, but dudes are thinking with their dingalings, dingaling thinkers. All these guys are thinking what they're dingaling, and they thinking, oh man, I got the game, I'll change her. Come on, bro. OnlyFans model, IG model, and that's why you see these guys from these other countries, predominantly Dubai, who treat these women like shit, and they just shower with a bunch of money, but they just do all this stuff, man. And these chicks, if they've been through any of that stuff, and they've had dudes pay them for sex and run through them, when it comes to having a real relationship, there's a disconnect there. There's no connection. They don't understand that love shit that doesn't exist in them. They don't even know what that word means or what those feelings are, because if they've already had all these monetary exchanges and relationships based on their looks and guys giving them money in exchange for time, then everything they do is based on money and time. It ain't based on companionship. And Shannon must not have, I mean, dude, This dude, he's been international. He's been around all type of women. This dude, come on, Shannon, done, he at one point was kicking with Eddie Murphy's ex. I mean, this dude's done had probably some of the top cheeks in the world. But it only takes one cheek to take you down. And this is more about taking him down than the money because they offered him a settlement and she turned it down. Or whoever's behind her turned it down because they figured they're going to get more than that. And like I said, the jury or whoever looks at this and the big black guy and her, oh man, yeah, it's a wrap. And I'm not saying it because, like I said, it was consensual, but in a sense, they call this also. I know a guy who was. They called it economic enslavement. You know, when you're using your money, your power and influence to manipulate or uh, take advantage of a woman who has lesser resources to a degree and sexualize her. I've seen them do that, and it was the same situation. It was a black guy and a white girl. And this dude wasn't nothing like Shannon Sharpe, but they brought that up in court. It's sexual, they called it economic enslavement or economic extortion, something like that. Economic extortion. Yeah, man, this broad, she was played him, and she came from a background of modeling and messing with billionaires, and so she seen him, and she destroyed this dude and totally manipulated him. He had no clue. So these women, they're smarter than you think. You can act like you think you gamed up. Oh man, blah 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 blah. Man, these bras is gamed up too, man. So leave a comment, hit that like button, notification. Make sure also to check out my other channel, Big Herc 916. Subscribe, share, man. Put us in the algorithm.